Greetings. Welcome to Not All There. I am Chad. I'm your host. This is my podcast. And this is take number 102. Actually, it's not that many. It's enough, though. I have started and stopped, I don't know, a dozen times. I, uh, I'm on the tail end of some plague that I contracted last week. And you can hear it in my voice. I'm still hacking up who knows what, and very spacey. And we're gonna this one's, whatever happens happens. This is the one that's going out. So if you're listening to this, just know that this is the best one you're gonna get out of me today. uh you know I've got so many fun things happening. First off, this week, today is Monday, April 28th. Okay, when you're listening to this, it will be up this afternoon, so you're listening to it hopefully the day it came out. At the end of the week, on Friday, May 2nd, I am hosting the second Not All Theirs sober soiree in the Ravenswood neighborhood of Chicago at the Ravenswood Loft, which is an amazing space. Nicole has done just, I can't speak highly enough about her and everything that she does in the space, and how she's really helped me get this together quickly and make it happen. So thank you to the Ravenswood Loft and to Nicole. Thanks so much. Howard is going to be coming into town. Dr. Howard Gluss. He and I have been collaborating together behind the scenes on quite a few different projects, and it's been funny. We have been talking since, oh gosh, September last year, September 24, October of, or yeah, September of 2024. And we've become very good friends. We work well together, all this really cool stuff that we're working on. But yeah, we haven't met in person. So we're meeting in person for the first time in 2 days. And he is going to be present for the sober soiree on May 2nd. It's kicking off at 7:30 Central Time here in Chicago. The reason I'm mentioning that is that we are going to live stream it as well through the notalltherepod.com website. Notalltherepod.com website. You will find a link where you can watch the live stream there. We will also edit and post not only the first one, but this second episode is, or excuse me, second soiree as well. This episode that you're about to listen to is with me and Britt Brandon. And it's awesome because Britt is actually going to be flying in from her part of the country to come and speak at this soiree as well. So I'm really excited what these events are starting to become. It's only the second one, but there's a lot of good momentum for these kinds of events, and it's strictly they're free. They're not an income or revenue generating event. They are strictly you know it's grassroots, all right, and it's intended to expose people to true stories and experiences of people and their life and experience with addiction, sobriety, and recovery, and in a very, just, no holds barred, bare bones, raw, whatever you want to call it, but all of the stuff, good, bad, ugly, and otherwise, and doing it in a group setting where people are having a good time talking, and hopefully that this is in an avenue, if you will, a commonality, something that will help bring people together to talk about whatever they're listening to, whatever stories they hear, but just to get us talking again. We're not listening to each other, we're not talking, and with all of the just rapid fire information that's coming out, things that may be going away, may not be going away, whatever is happening. All right, a lot of it is out of our control, but what we can control is how we feel about these things. And if we allow ourselves to feel doom and gloom or anxiety or anger, whatever these heightened emotions are, if you're excited about it, hey, there you go. But a lot of people that I know are just have really mixed emotions about what's happening. right? And we don't know where to go, who to talk to. We kind of expose ourselves to the same thing over and over and over again. And hopefully through the soiree and this through line, this commonality of addiction and sobriety and recovery, we can start having more open conversations and being more comfortable about sharing how we're truly feeling. Because if you hear somebody tell their story to you, and they put it out there in front of you, I mean, it's a very brave thing to do. And it's a very cathartic thing to do, quite honestly. My God, it really does help. I do it, and it helps me tremendously. Doing this podcast and some of the other things outside of the podcast that I've done related to recovery and addiction, and telling my story about it, it has helped me tremendously. And by someone hearing it, hopefully it will help them, give them some pause or some peace or that little bit of bravery they need to either seek help or want to have an open dialogue about something that may be making them feel a way that is uncomfortable. So that's the goal. That's the inspiration and the drive behind doing the soirees. Again, it is Friday, May 2nd. This Friday, May 2nd, 7:30 Central at the Ravenswood Loft in Chicago. Chicago. And we will have Howard Gluss. Dr. Howard Gluss will be there. I shall be there as your host. Britt Brandon, who you're about to listen to, she will be there. And we've got another person up our sleeve that, well, you're just going to have to show up or tune in to find out who that's going to be. And this is about all I have left in me. So I'm going to finish off by saying enjoy this conversation with me and Britt Brandon. And now I am going to go pass out. Enjoy the show. So before we get let me introduce you to Britt Brandon. She has published 24 books, and her 25th is publishing this month, April, right? And the title of that book is She Rises and Thrives, Loving Life in Recovery. And personally, I can't wait to read that one. Britt is a coach, a wellness coach, and all the certifications under the sun. She'll tell us about them in a minute. And she's helped over 10,000 people worldwide. She's registered as an elite trainer. She's a triathlete. Her favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption, which, bravo, bravo. And she gets angry and upset while watching musicals. Any type of film or television show that involves people dancing and singing, you can just kiss off with that. And we had the question that was answered. She's living in North Carolina now, and so we had to have the discussion of brown gravy or white gravy, or as I'm sure they say it there, white gravy. And she's a brown gravy person. All right. Will, however, enjoy white gravy, but never after 12 p.m.
Right.
Is that right? Did I get it all right? Did I do okay?
Nailed it all on that. Yeah.
All right. Well, Britt, why don't you, I'm going to let you tell us a bit about yourself, get us started, and we're going to have a little journey on this conversation. So,
awesome.
Britt,
yeah. Okay.
Have at it.
Thank you. Okay. So, yes, so I have been a health coach. I've been in the health and wellness industry for 22 years. So when I was 18, I moved to college and had like crazy anxiety. We'll get to that.
I know about that.
Yeah. So I had crazy anxiety just being away from home. I was like put with a roommate that was totally not my jive. And there was a Ballet's Total Fitness. Do you remember that? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that was right across the street. So I was there all the time and just loved it. Like I'd bring my book, I'd get on, a machine and, but I was there all the time and they were like, hey, you should work here. And I was like, yeah, like, okay. So, and they were like, no, you should be a personal
people
trainer.
To work here. Oh, you that early on, you became a trainer?
Yeah. At 18.
Oh, wow.
I know. And I was like, holy cow, these people are like superheroes and they want me to be among them. And so, but it was so neat because so I was at school studying psychology and I started training these girls that were, my age or probably within like the 10 years. It's so crazy that I was so unqualified, but so I would be like training these people, and there were so many psychological components. Like it was way more than a physical component. So it was just this beautiful, like, yin yang of whether it was fitness or psychology, but everything just spoke to me. And it kicked off this incredible passion for fitness and health and wellness that like spurred into nutrition. And then like I started writing books, which was my dream since I was 4 years old. And like all of these things, it's just crazy.
Well, take us back to the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in it's a big town, but it's a small town.
Got
And
it.
yep, so it's just north of Palm Beach in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned earlier, or well, before we got on, that you have a sibling. Is it just the two of you?
It is. Yep.
Okay.
I'm the oldest. Yep, yep, yep.
All right. So what'd you do when you grew up? What kind of things were you into? I mean, what led, let's put it this way, what led to the anxiety? Because usually it's more than just leaving home, right? I mean, I had that anxiety, but what I found out much later is there were some underlying things that I didn't understand that led to a lot of that anxiety. Were there anything, that maybe helped kind of push that out?
Oh yeah. Well, and I thought the moving was going to alleviate the anxiety.
Of
I don't want to
course.
mislead you in thinking that the anxiety started with that
Excellent. Now
move.
we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's not, that's not the origin story of anything. So yes, so my brother and I, we grew up, we had like the picture perfect family. I was the oldest. My younger brother's 4.5 years younger than me. We had professional parents. We lived in a beautiful, what I definitely consider a mansion now, on the water in
Oh,
Florida.
wow.
We had a boat, we had a plane. I mean,
You had a
it was,
plane?
we had a plane.
Fuck
Yes.
off. Oh my
I
God.
know, I know, I know. So, and so it was just me and my brother, and we had a super strict dad. So like there was like no TV. I think we were allowed to watch like an hour of TV, total per day, during the summertime. But we lived on the water. So it was me and
Yeah.
my brother. Like we'd go out on the dock. He literally fished all day, every day. I like sat in the sun and like read and wrote, and we rode our bikes, like picture perfect childhood. And then I was 10, and my mom came to me and was like, "Hey, we're getting a divorce." We'd never heard them fight, not once. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Yeah. So cue abandonment issues. This is where
Oh, ding, ding.
yeah, so we move, and my dad lives in like the next town over, but we like never saw him. And
Oh
so
man.
yeah, so then like 8 years later, and my mom had been in rehab. While she was in rehab, I had a boyfriend who had to go to rehab. So I was just surrounded by addicts and codependent relationships. And it was just that was my normal though.
What
And
was was your dad a drinker at all or a dry drunk or anything like that? Or was he addicted
no,
to his
no.
work?
And to this day, so we joke that like my dad is able to like smoke, and then like he'll be like, I don't want to smoke anymore. And then he doesn't smoke. And like he'll drink. And then if somebody is like, I think you drank a lot, he's like, oh, okay, then I won't drink. And then he just doesn't. Like it's
Oh,
the weirdest. I'm like,
yeah.
how is that possible?
I know
So
those people.
yeah, that's
Bastards.
not, I know. I know. I'm like, what is life like for you? And then
Uh,
there's me who's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. 7 zillion more must be even more amazing.
so when did you start drinking? Was it sort of like a casual thing as a teenager or was it were you kind of later to
Yeah,
it?
so actually, like, I didn't have an unhealthy relate. Actually, okay, so I've never had a healthy like relationship with anything that was an addictive substance. I mean, I started smoking when I was like 14,
Mhm.
and then um, I drank, but I never had like blackouts or anything. And then it wasn't until like I was in an abusive marriage where everything felt like it was like out of control, where I was like drinking to numb, and then I'd go long enough without that I would start feeling things again and be like, we got to drink more, and then that's what started this like crazy out of control spiral that was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what alcoholism is. Yeah. Yeah.
So how old were you when you got married?
Oh, like little, like 21. Yeah,
Okay.
I had my daughter, and when she was 3 months old, we got married, and I had her when I was 21. So yeah,
Okay. Wow. And so how long were you guys together for?
14 years altogether. Yeah.
Ooh.
And
Did you notice like early on about the behavior that was going to be coming your way from him, or was it something that was kind of gradual?
yeah, so it was there were all of the signs, but I was locked in. Like
Yeah.
I was pregnant. I like so the first time I was ever pushed was when I was pregnant. And it was like um and he made such light of it, and he was like, whatever, I was just wasted. And it was like, okay. And then so nothing for a little while. And then something would happen. So, and it's funny because like upon reflection, there's like that whole thing about like you go, this period of time that's like the honeymoon phase, and then something happens again. And we all know like those times get shorter and shorter and shorter. I mean, we went from having like years between incidents to like hours. I mean, it was just crazy how like it's like when when they say like if you quit drinking, you pick up right where you left off.
Yep. And
Yeah.
it's even more intense. Like, yeah,
Yes.
the progression like gets it comes faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're not careful, the in between, the times between get shorter and shorter and shorter. And then it's just you and how
That's
you
just
act.
constant. Yeah. Yeah. Like that's just your existence. So that was my experience, was that like there were signs and signals. Like I went to a lawyer when I was pregnant with my first, because I was like, I think I'm in trouble. And he was like, my advice to you is you need to like move across the country and change your name. And I was like, that seems really intense. And then it's so crazy because,
Wait, hang on. Wait, you were pregnant with your first child?
yeah,
So you had that information the entire time you guys were together.
yeah,
Fuck.
I know. Yeah. And it was crazy because it was the way that things progress. I was surrounded by people who were like, it's gonna be okay. Like his
Yeah.
whole family like poo-pooed things and was like his brother was there the first time that I ever got like popped in the mouth and had a busted lip, and like took my husband outside to like go have a talk, and then came back in and everybody acted like nothing had happened. It was the great and so it was just, I was surrounded by like, this is normal. And my brother came and lived with us before he left for the Navy, and he didn't see anything while he was there, but he was like, something is very wrong in this house. Like you could literally, like he was like, you find out that he's coming home, and for like 20 minutes everything is in like this mad dash. Like even my kids would be like, oh my gosh, he's coming home. Like everything had to be like fixed up and perfect, and it was just crazy. It was crazy. And so like, but we didn't know it was crazy. So it
It was just
was,
what you knew.
yeah. And
I
it just
mean,
happened. It was like that frog in the boil. Like it's
yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah,
The heat just keeps going and going, and you don't know you're dying.
yeah. So
Wow.
it was just I mean, just like I was saying before we started the show, like my mom's talking to me one day and she's like, oh, I listened to this crazy TED talk, and this girl was like so much like you. Like she had a gun pulled on her. And I was like, man, that's crazy. And she was like, that happened to you. And it was like, oh yeah. Like I had a moving truck, and he came home and found out that I was moving. And he literally came and like took a shotgun and blew out every tire on my moving truck and went to jail. Yeah.
My
Then
God.
called from jail and was like, I cannot believe you did this to me. And it was like, what is happening? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Like I
my
have all of
God.
these like gems of craziness, and they still like, even now, I think I said like the first time that we met, I was saying like, I'll still have somebody share a story and I'll be like, oh yeah. And I'll remember something crazy. It's like, but it's beautiful now that I'm out of it.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
it
it's like,
is.
yeah,
I understand, and we're sitting here like laughing over
yeah,
it, and
And I'm laughing like out of nervousness because I could have died a bunch of times. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do know what you mean. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some crazy encounters. And like I was mentioning to you before, it was like I'm lucky I'm alive, right? And I have to look back at some of those times and those incidents, and I have to laugh at them now. And because there's never you're never going to get over it. You're never it happened. It's never going to go away. You're never going to get over the fact that it did happen, but you're going to have to find a way to like move through it and move, I guess, past it. And humor is a healthy way to do that.
Yeah.
Um, because you get far enough away, and if you're in a place like you are, and thankfully I am now, where it's, we're healthy, and we're doing work, and we're using what happened to us to help other people. And enough time passes, and you've done good in your life. You're doing things that are making you feel good and helping you in healthy ways. And you can look back at it and be like, holy shit, I
Yeah.
cannot believe that happened to me. How insane is that?
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, do you ever just occasionally drop one of those little nuggets like at a dinner party just to see what people will do? Because I do.
I mean, luckily, like I'm surrounded by people who are either. I was talking to my daughter about this the other day because like the people who are close to me now are people who I don't have to hide what happened.
Right,
So, but
right.
I
Me
will.
too.
So, but it's crazy because like I wrote this book and there's this one part where I literally provide like a little bit of it's a little bit of a glimpse, and it's even still like everybody's like, I'm so sorry that you
Yeah,
went that way. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah.
so my two best friends were like, I mean, we thought that that was bad, but we didn't know that that was that bad. And it's
Right?
crazy. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
it
people who, I mean, but it's like, how do you just like drop I mean,
you
like the
you
moving tires, the moving truck tires, people will be like,
I
what
know. I
like,
know. Well, I just, this is me, this is just my sick and twisted mind, but if anyone ever gets on the topic of like, guns or shooting guns, and I don't know if
yeah,
you shoot guns or not or have guns, I grew up shooting guns. It's something
yeah,
I'm very, very good at. But sometimes people get on the conversations like, hey, have you ever like, gone to the range or anything like that? And I just thought you could say, well, no, but my ex-husband did come out with a shotgun and blew out all four tires on my moving truck.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, you just kind of let that breathe a little
Let let it kind of hang there
just
for
let it
when,
hang there. Hey,
yeah,
would you pass the gravy? I got 10 minutes to get that gravy in me before I, turn back into a pumpkin.
yeah,
Wow. It really is important though, I feel. And, I don't want to speak directly for you. I'm sure you feel this way too, but that those details are important to put out there, to share all the bad and ugly
yeah,
that it was. And you know even if the difficult thing for a lot of people is admitting um that there is a problem, whether it's in their relationship or their work or they have a substance use issue. It's really, really hard to admit to yourself that that is a problem, even though you know it. Like, there's something up, but you have to admit it to yourself first to make it like real. And when you hear someone speak about some of the dark times in their life and some of the ugliness that they went through and survived, it does give a bit of peace. And hopefully that peace will like build to some courage to get the help. So I know people sometimes look at me like, why are you sharing all that gruesome shit? And it's like, because it helps. It helps me, but it's going to help somebody else too. And even if it is just simply make them feel grateful for what they have, right? Like,
right, yeah,
gratitude is very powerful. And, people can, yeah, yeah, gratitude, but look, you may not know that you're feeling grateful for something when you feel comfortable in your house or your car or your job or whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable. That is a sensation of gratitude. And, if you're feeling real shitty about your lot in life, um, listen to this podcast
Serious.
because
Yeah.
there's been some people that have lived through things and they're, thriving in an aspect, and look, man, a lot of things don't really matter in the material way. I love material. I love all of that stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if I had to, anyway, we don't have to go down that road. My wife would
Yeah.
kill me. But what I'm getting at is that, it's a good reminder for me and for others to just, listen to these stories that people share. Just listen to what they're talking about. Sometimes people are telling you they need help without saying, "Hey, I need help." But we don't listen as much as we used to, and sometimes I'm sort of a blunt object when it comes to putting stuff out there. Because for me, like, you can dress things up very nice. You can package things very nice and very attractive and very soft and very inviting. And that is great because a lot of people need that. I, on the other hand, you need to just tell me, like, just give me the details. And I've noticed by doing that, it does help people kind of push forward, push through this block that they might have, right? And even if they don't say, geez, I think you're right, and I think I'm that way too, and I think I need help, there's something that they can say, or there's a reaction where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna be around over here and I'm here if you need me, right? But so many people, we don't acknowledge that. I feel like we can do a lot better with that. Do you find in your work that that might be the case with most people?
Absolutely. 1000%. And I think when something's put on our radar, it's like there's like actually this thing called the reticular activating mechanism. It's called RAM, for the acronym. But once something's brought on your radar, you start seeing it everywhere. And
Right.
that's what I think when we are in the line of work or purpose that we're in, it's not only is it like therapy for us to share stories and to kind of be able to say, like, yeah, I survived this XYZ or whatever, but I remember like looking at people and thinking like, holy cow, okay, so they're normal now and they look like they went through some rough shit and they're okay, so maybe there's hope for me. And that's the ticket, is that we
Yep.
have to be able to spread hope. And there is, so I was actually talking to somebody who is struggling with her sobriety right now. She's doing a great job, but at the beginning is hard, right? Because
It
you're
is.
feeling stuff. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, but one of the things that I was telling her is like sobriety is your pathway to peace. And she was like, holy cow, I don't even think I know what peace is. And it's like,
You
there it
don't.
is.
That's
There it
it.
is. Because you
That is
don't.
it. You
You
don't.
don't.
You
I'm
have
like, oh,
no
it is.
clue. I know.
And then when you hit peace, when you get peace, like I'll never forget it. I even put it in my book. The second that I realized, like I was at my house, my kids were playing outside, and I was sitting there reading a book, and I didn't feel like I needed a drink, and I didn't feel like I needed stimulus from any kind of like source. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is it. Like
Yeah.
I'm happy. I love my home.
Yep.
I'm happy in my body, in my mind. I don't need anything. Like I'm not trying. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And then I was on a mission to just like safeguard that piece. Like you walk into our house now and it's like me, these three kids, everybody is just like, I have three kids and they don't fight. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, it's just amazing when you start loving peace and you live for peace. It's just, and I think you like exude it. Like people
You
want
do.
what you have,
You do.
And
Yeah.
that's, and then when we're in this line of work and it's like, and if you can promise somebody peace in sobriety, they're like, all right, I might give this shit a shot.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
so true. And that's what led me to this podcast, which has led me to all these doors that are opening now. It led us to talk. There's opportunities for the two of us outside of this that hopefully will come to fruition together. It was about what was the summer of 19 summer of 93. Jesus Christ, I'm old. It was the summer of 2023. And I had that moment too. And For me, I had a lot of inner struggle. And there were variations of abuse that started in my life from a very young age. So I didn't know what life outside of that was like. And so it was just strictly survival mode, everything. And I'm still wired for that. And that's going to be a challenge to hopefully, fix that wiring. But at least now I'm aware of it and I can, work within that. But a big part of my life was like self-loathing. I did not like myself. I
Mm,
I thought there was something wrong with me. Desperately wanted to be somebody else. I just it was like I fucking hated myself. I thought I was ugly, and it was just so much of this like just nastiness to myself. And even in sobriety, I started running marathons when I got sober, and I mean, I tried to run the shit out of myself. I did. My body finally gave out. But I wasn't running to anything. I was running from everything, is what
yeah,
that was.
yeah.
And, that my body was like, okay, dude, we get it. Okay, enough of this. Let's go work on our mind now. Okay. We've taken care of the body. And that's when I really got into like real therapy and was very open and honest about a lot of things. And through that, opened up the Pandora's box of all the emotions and essentially had like a nervous breakdown in sobriety that lasted a good 4, maybe 5 years. It was a long, arduous task, and it was not easy for me. Certainly wasn't easy on my family. And it's like, this is sobriety, God. But I stuck with it.
Mhm.
And one day the thought came into my mind, hey dude, how about we kind of start liking ourselves? Let's just
Oh,
let's
I
just
love
let's just
that.
try it. And just even like admitting that to myself, this relief came over me, right? And that's to me what peace is. It's like a relief of self.
Yeah.
And through that, I thought, well, let's find some sort of artistic outlet. And it's like, I'll just do a podcast because everybody is. And I'll do it this way, and it's led to this, but that it reinforces the point that you made that when you find peace, whatever that might be for you, it does open things up for you in ways you didn't imagine. And this isn't some kind of like, cultish high level shit. This is just basic like accepting yourself and being
Yeah.
cool with it, if
Yeah.
that's how you have to put it. But that's what inner peace is like. And it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. But when you find it, it's really kind of cool.
It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of work? So just kind of take us through a sample, a garden variety of the type of work that you're doing. Is it different per person? Do you have kind of a different like programs or packages or things that work? I mean, how do you go about
Yeah.
doing that?
So it's all unique, right? And
Okay.
that's the way that I kind of like to say it is that it's as unique as we are because some people have so the basic modality, right, is in my theory, and that's what I present in my book. There's 6 areas that are absolutely essential to making sure that you have healing, health, and happiness in your life, right? And so they're super simple, they're free to everybody, and it's awesome because sometimes like I'll have people come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm nailing the sleep." So that's beautiful. And it's like, "Oh, but my life's a dumpster fire over here in fitness." You know what I mean? And so it's like we all have work to do, but
Uh-huh.
most of the time we have a good area where we're like, "All right, I'm locked in on that area." So we're good. We're starting out with something. And so the areas are faith, food, fitness, fun, fellowship, and sleep. What's funny is many of us suck at fun. So that is yeah. So and a lot of
We
people,
do.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And especially people who are either getting sober or are sober because we are very hard on ourselves about our past. And so we think
Mhm.
that we either don't deserve it or that we're supposed to be like punishing ourselves or whatever. And so there's like so much to unlearn and unpack and unwind, but the process is pretty beautiful. And in that process, my favorite thing about being sober is I learn more about myself every day. And sometimes it's fantastic, and sometimes it's awful, but at least I feel like I am paying attention and I'm like actually doing life. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And it's
I think for me, and probably might hold true for you and for others, is that okay, there's two things that you mentioned in there.
Mm.
Faith and fellowship. And I want to touch on the fellowship aspect of it real quick because
Huge.
to me, yeah, it's you can't get sober alone. You can't recover from whatever. See, sobriety is more sobriety. What the hell was that?
The new
Sobriety.
way.
I know. Hang on, he's crawling up on his soapbox. Sobriety. Sobriety is more than just abstinence from whatever it is that you're addicted to, right? And it is and it's more than a hashtag lifestyle. Okay. It encompasses like every like part of your being. And it goes to the world around you as well. And sobriety and recovery, they kind of go hand in hand. They're a little separate, but they really are hand in hand. And I know some people like to say that I am a recovered alcoholic, and maybe that is true for them. But for me, and I know for a lot of other people, is I never truly will be recovered because as I grow and experience and evolve, I have to have my sobriety and my recovery evolve with that. Because if I keep up doing the same thing as I am evolving as a human being, it's not going to work. There's going to be something I'm going to get hung up on. I'm going to get pissed. And the sobriety is, people look at sobriety as strictly as, you don't drink or do drugs anymore. Well, I mean that, yes. Okay. But you can be,
It's a
people,
tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, fine, sure, sure. But, um, I'm on a mission to move people past that, right?
Yeah.
Is really what it is. And I feel like that's really wrapped up in a lot of the work that you're doing as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Is that, you can break it down that people are addicted to drugs and alcohol. Absolutely. Food. Okay. Gambling. Yes. Sex. I've heard of it. Right.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
What about work?
Oh, yeah.
What about toxic relationships? What
I
about
was just going to say
chaos?
toxicity. Like they'll seek it
Yeah.
out in anything. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. They just thrive on toxicity, anger, any kind of like, yeah,
And
yeah,
people thrive in the chaos and people
yeah,
thrive in doom. And, I mean, we've got social media and TV and news and video games and all that stuff is there. That's more of like a sensory addiction, right? The dopamine sensory. We can get into that at some other time. I got
yeah.
a whole
That's all.
podcast series about that, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah,
But getting to the one that I have noticed when I give this little like speech, if you will, about the different types of addiction that are present that people don't really see or understand or don't want to see or understand. The big one that gets the most reaction is work. And, you know, people were like, well, what do you mean by work? Why, like, I hear the word workaholic. I'm just like earning a living. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm a provider. I'm providing. And it's like, yeah, are you? I mean, you might be providing a money or, a house, but, you're sacrificing something along the way with that.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
and they're like, well, how am I addicted to it? Okay. All right. Well, let's just take a salesperson, for example. And you're in sales and you close a deal and that deal makes you feel really good, right? Like you're excited, you're happy. And that's the dopamine in your brain, yo, that's making you feel that way. And then you're like, I need to feel that again. And so you become like this, hound dog of a salesperson and you start closing deals and dopamine and dope. But pretty soon the mind's going to start wearing out, right? You're going to stop getting that same rush that you did from these sales. And you get dependent on that feeling, right? Because that becomes your purpose, that becomes your identity. And then pretty soon you're addicted to it because that's the only way that you feel you have purpose or value is
Yeah,
that I am the best salesperson. I am the best actor. I'm the best coach. I'm the best, whatever it might be that you're doing, except maybe librarians. But, you know,
you know what? Maybe there's a competition for best librarian that we're
there
just
might
not.
be, maybe in the days of the Dewey Decimal System, but I don't know. Everything's online now. I mean, the day when we had to
But
go to
you,
the card catalog.
yeah,
the-
no,
the-
you're dead on. You're dead on. And I
but
don't think it even has to be it doesn't matter what you do, just like you said, no matter what field you're in, even if you're
mhm,
a stay-at-home mom, there's a
yes,
competition of I'm the best stay-at-home mom. I
that's a great one. Please
yeah,
speak to that because that is a huge one. There is
yeah.
this competition with moms that I've noticed, and it it's upsetting to see from a distance, but I'd like to hear it from a mother. themselves.
I got kicked off. Okay, so let's talk about
Let's
it.
go.
So, so I don't know. I mean, I guess I like to say I was a mean girl when I was in high school because hurting people hurt people. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm, in my time since then, I've had daughters. My children are basically the only thing that I will get mean about. Do not mess with my kids. Okay. Other than that, I can let anything go. I really don't care. I'm here to help where I can. If I can't, no problem. I'll move on, whatever. So like I was on the PTA and those girls they kicked me off of the PTA.
They kicked you off the PTA?
Kicked me off the PTA because I made a stink about, and not even a big stink. They appointed me health chair. And so I was health chair and I went to go have lunch with my son and he's like, okay, second grade ADHD. And he's like, can I have 50 cents for a slushie? And I was like, there's so many things wrong with this question. Like are those here? B, you're in second grade. C, why are you asking me for cash? Like there's all of these things. So I bring it up at the next PTA meeting. Like, how is this? You're literally like hopping my child up on diet sugar and then sending him back to class. Like, are you out of your mind? And then expecting him to like behave. So anyway, so I bring it up and it was not received well. And then I was appointed like the chair of our fall festival. It was such a disaster. These people just wanted to like peddle all of these things. And I was like, well, we could get free donations of like grilled chicken and salad and you could offer that. And they were like, we've just always done pizza. So we're just going to stay with pizza. And it was like, okay. So then it came to a head with the fall festival and yeah, and they were like, we're gonna have to ask you, like, we don't think that you're a good fit. So anyway, it turned into this huge thing. So at the time, actually, so my husband, he would have these, periods of time where he would be nice. He was like, he came to my defense, like, what is wrong with all of you girls? Like, just be nice. Why are you being mean girls? And it was legit, like dealing with high schoolers, but adults.
Yeah.
And like our children it was so crazy. And I was just like, you guys have fun. Like, I mean, this is not for me. I joined the PTA because I actually thought the PTA would like be cool, and it is so not.
I know it is. It's all about control, is what it is. And
I mean, and I'm lucky that I didn't have my drinking problem at that point in time but I'm sure like the brick was laid from that incident.
Oh, absolutely. But I can assure you that someone else in that PTA group, they had many drinks over you.
Yeah, I know. And isn't that crazy?
You pissed a lot of people.
Apparently so. I mean, for them to, and it's funny, like I still have the email. We're going to have to respectfully request that you are no longer a part of the PTA.
They couldn't even tell you to your face. They had to send you an email.
No, I know. And we were all like living in the same neighborhood, which made it even more awkward because it was
oh my God.
Girl that I didn't even know was like, I'm so sorry that this is happening, but I went to your defense and I was like, what are you talking about? And that was how I learned about it, that I was getting kicked off.
She told you, oh my God, that's funny.
This girl that I didn't know was at our bus stop and it was so crazy. So but my point is hurting people hurt people. And so,
yes.
I know that there's like, I have to believe that there's a method to the madness and that there's something that we're all supposed to learn from all of this. And so one of the things, like even now in some of my coaching, there's a lot of anxiety that comes from the people who are around the people who are struggling and suffering. And it's like, we already have, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those, what do they call us? Like the sandwich generation where we're taking care of our parents and we're taking care of our kids,
Yep.
And so, yeah. And it's like, life is hard enough. And, there are times I've been sober now for 6.5 years. And that what we were talking about earlier about like pick up where where you left off or even more intensely. So I have people ask me all the time, like, well, do you think that do you think you'd be able to drink now? Like you're not in the abuse anymore and you're not in the whatever. Like, do you think, like I've even had a counselor tell me like, I don't think you're an alcoholic. I think you would be fine if you drank. And it's like, well, let's not find out.
Yeah, you
Okay.
know what? I don't plan on finding out.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I
I
remember what it
know.
was like, and I don't think I want to
Oh,
go back there.
and like, who wants to test that? Like, I mean,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
That's
And
shitty advice. I'm sorry.
isn't that crazy? So, and that was a long time. That was in Florida. I mean,
Oh, well,
I know. It's fitting. It's fitting. Um,
yeah.
but it's like, I mean, I talk to people now, and every single experience that I had, even the PTA, the mean moms, like it's crazy. Like we all deal with some crazy shit in our lives, and we're all trying to, find our identity, which I think is crazier when you get sober. You don't even know
No,
so you
no.
have to you are like you have to go back to like second grade when you're trying
Hmm.
to figure out like do people like me, like I
Hmm.
that was one of the first things
Yeah,
was like, holy cow, I don't even know who my friends are.
right.
Like, luckily a bunch of them, as soon as I got sober, scattered, so that was beautiful. But the ones who stayed, it was like, holy cow, okay, so we're gonna do this, and it was really, it was scary, and it was funny, but I mean, and I think I kept the best and left the worst, I
Yeah.
hope, you
I
know?
I would say so, and that this is like the bigger picture of the fellowship aspect of it, how we kind of looped back around to it, that everybody, so many people in your life left, and that happens. But you had a few people that stuck around. And, once you start building out a community of other people that are sober, it really does help you find yourself, define that personality, because uh, you know, twofold for you, like you were in this really nasty, abusive relationship, and then you became, an alcoholic. So your identity was, I'm an abused spouse and I'm an alcoholic, and that was the life you lived. And then you get rid of both of those, and you're like, well, who am I now? And it's really, it freaks a lot of people out. And I don't know if this is accurate or not. It's just an observation of mine, is that when people who are in recovery from anything, we'll just kind of keep it to alcohol here because it's simple and
Yeah.
relatable to most people. Um, that when you do eventually reach that identity crisis, and you will have it, because you don't realize that the drinking, in this example, was your identity. That's what people knew you as. That's what you kind of accepted yourself as. And when you take that away, you're left with this, it's still you, but you have this almost emptiness inside, because the alcohol was trying to fill a void that existed inside of you that you didn't know. And people, it's freaky. It's really, really freaky. And a lot of people can't get through it. They can't seem to wrap their head around that. And that is where I believe that the community aspect of fellowship comes in. And it gives you an understanding that you're not alone. It, we always like to, compare ourselves to others, whether we say we do or not. And, hearing somebody's story that was like, for example, I mean, your story is intense, and somebody's going to hear that story and think, well, fuck, okay. All right. That didn't happen to me. At least it wasn't that bad for me. Right. But
Yeah.
you're here to share that story
Yeah,
for those
exactly.
people. And that's, people try to do things on their own, and God bless you if you can make it work. It doesn't work for me, and I'm not some kind of an anomaly. There are a lot of people like ourselves that need that community, that need those people, because it keeps helping us grow and feel stronger, that we were able to overcome the day, even the day, or that lunch meeting, right?
Yeah.
And not feel that we have to go get hammered, or get hammered at the meeting. And through your work, I can tell that is the message that you're trying to send too, is that we need to rely on each other, whether we're sober or not. And for those that are out in the community that aren't, don't have to concern themselves over a substance addiction, but I'm pretty sure somebody that is suffering or has suffered, and we all need to be better at listening to each other, right? Because when you listen, you learn, and you might hear something from someone that either, you're going to see that they really need the help, and maybe you will now know a resource where you can send them for help, or B, they might say something that's going to rock your world and help you, right? And that's why fellowship or community, whatever you want to wrap it up, of friends in sobriety is huge. And to the faith aspect, I know a lot of people get freaked out,
Oh my gosh.
and I just want to say this is my stance on it, that faith and religion are two separate things, right? You can have faith
Oh,
within your
absolutely.
religion,
That's
but
the
because you
difference.
have faith in something other than yourself does not make you a religious person.
Absolutely not. Right, right, right. And I have the belief that like you do not have to, and it was crazy town trying to, I mean, you want to talk about like an internal conflict. I was like, I don't know whether this is like even Simon and Schuster was like, I'm not digging this chapter, and it was like, okay. And then I brought it, I have two daughters. One loves Jesus, is like she gets me like pumped to go to church every Sunday. I have another one, she's like, I believe in the universe. So I brought her my book and I was like, what do you think about this faith chapter? And she was so awesome and beautiful. She was like, you need to let people get to know you before you introduce this chapter, because it's just so touchy, and you have to be so careful with it, and you handle it beautifully, but you need to let people get to know you, so put it at the end. And so I loved that,
Oh,
right?
that's a great, yeah, that's a
Right.
very good
And so
suggestion.
she's the one who I credit with that. But I mean, I had a client read it and she was like, so feedback for the book. Love the book, hate the faith chapter. And she's like, I'm a Buddhist.
Oh,
Yeah. And
oh, she's a Buddhist. Come
I'm a
on.
Buddhist. Yeah. And I mean, nothing against Buddhist people.
No.
And so I was like, yeah, but I prefaced the whole chapter with like, I don't want you to feel like you need to believe what I believe. Like, I'm just going to write this from my perspective, but
Right.
I don't care if you worship a coconut. Like, be free of having it all be on you is the point.
Right.
Like, to me, that's
Right.
like, we're not, just like I was talking about when we first got on our phone call. Like, I mean, we're not just aimlessly wandering around. Like, please let there be a bigger purpose to this, you
Oh,
know?
well, there is. And hang on here just a second. Here it is. God almighty. Books, crash, bang, boom. Recovery Dharma. Are you familiar with
Oh,
it?
no, but I love it.
Yeah, it's essentially like, you know, AA done Buddhist style. And it just made me think that the person that read your book and considered themselves, declared that they're a Buddhist, I think that they need to go back and reread about that. And that's all I'm going to say, is that, you know, being a Buddhist is being open-minded.
And
And
that's the thing. And that's the thing. And so that's like my whole thing is that throughout my entire book, and you can like hear my voice and my personality in the pages of my book. You
it's
know what I
great.
mean? Like,
Yeah, I do.
and so by the time we get to the faith chapter, hopefully people, have heard enough of my story, B, the healing that literally had to, I mean, because just like we were talking about when we first got on, the anxiety doesn't start when you leave home at 18. Like, we're talking about years and years
No.
of, I
It's
mean,
just you're used to it, so you don't see it. It's what you know. You don't understand that it's anxiety. You just think that's life. And then you get out of that environment and you're like, fuck, what is going on?
yeah. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can. Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It might, I don't know why. I just got a thing
Oh,
on
no,
my,
that's cool. I mean,
okay.
come on. Jesus, the internet, get with it.
It's like your headset has switched. So I was like, I don't even know what's happening. But anyway, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yes.
well, so, I'm really happy that we were able to touch on those two things, because for me, those are two real key components to healthy living, if you will, right? That have friends, have fellowship, have people that you can trust and talk to, right? I mean, you can have
Yeah,
any
I feel
kind of
like
group
you're
of friends.
talking
No, you can have Like you could be the most popular person in your neighborhood and at the ballpark or whatever, but you could still be that and the loneliest person ever.
Oh,
Find
absolutely.
find people that you can relate with. I mean, we're not saying that's all you have to like surround yourself with. Not at all. Go out and live your life. But when you find yourself at the ballpark and you're having a freak out, you got to have somebody that you can talk to. You can't go back and be like, dude, man, my anxiety is high and I'm feeling very insecure right now about eating this
Yeah.
hot dog. There's oh,
And then that's the other thing too. Like I was on a bike ride yesterday with one of my best friends. Like I have two best friends, never had real best friends ever in my life. I have such a
right.
small community of people who are surrounding me now. And it's funny because when you go from having social anxiety to feeling so comfortable in your own skin and around the people who you're around, it's amazing. But the fellowship component, like when you get to the point where you can trust the people who you're with and share things so that you're not carrying that burden alone, but then also like that whole thing about, like helps, like helping and working and being able to, help somebody else when somebody else can confide in you and you feel like you say something that's just like an amazing gem to them and they're like, thank you so much for listening. There's so much power in that,
So much power. So
yeah.
much.
And when you come from that, when you're trying to find your identity and you feel like you're a blank canvas and you're like, I don't know what I like. I don't know what I like to do. I don't know who my friends are going to be. And you start to feel like, oh my gosh, like this person is, might be my people, or like this kind of thing is where I can share my story and help other people know they're not alone, or help people know that there's hope no matter what, whatever the case might be. It's like, that's the kind of stuff that takes you out of that hole where
It
you're just
is.
like scared and you're afraid to, because sobriety can suck,
Dude, it's
and
hard. It's
yeah,
really,
you've got
as we
that.
talked about earlier, my friend Dr. Howard Gluss, props Howard, his podcast dropped September 4th, 2024. Go check it out. But we're working together to create what we're calling a sober summit, sobriety and leadership summit, right? More details to come on that. But one of the topics that I'll be speaking on is simply titled Sobriety is a Motherfucker. And it's because it's true. It's true. Life is gonna life. All these corny sayings that you're gonna hear in sobriety and in your communities and your fellowships. But it's true. Just because you're sober and you're feeling empowered and you're feeling healthy and you're feeling that you have found your identity and yourself, you still have to go through things and it's going to be hard. And, you know, when you experience a difficult time, whether, I mean, like a serious, like a loss of a job or the death of a family member, or even, the loss of a pet, something that's going to be very emotionally taxing on you. The first time you experience that in sobriety, I'm sorry, it's going to be kind of tough because you no longer have a coping mechanism for that you used to use, but also that, we suppress all these emotions and we stunt a lot of the emotional growth that we are supposed to naturally go through when we're drinking, or when we're covering up anything through the work, through work, through sex, through food, through your toxic relationships, whatever it is that keeps you distracted and keeps that hidden down inside of you, that's going to come out. And you're going to have to figure out how to deal with that in a healthy way, but you're also going to have to figure out how to just allow yourself to feel. And it's a really scary place to be. And that goes back to the fellowship and the community. And furthermore, it goes back to the faith aspect. And there's the saying, faith without works is dead. And that doesn't mean you have to pray to anything. It just means you have to believe, just having belief, believing that by the power of yourself, by doing the work, whatever that is, taking that step, making your bed, whatever it is that you do, that is putting faith out there. That is believing that if I make my bed today, I won. If anything goes bad today and it's a rough day, I know there's the speech that went viral that make your bed, because if it's a terrible day, you come back home, at least you have a made bed to get into. But making that bed is providing the faith that you're going to succeed today. And if succeeding is only coming back home and getting into a made bed, it worked, right? You don't have to it if you need the fellowship of church, if you need the fellowship of any kind of spiritual or religious group, by all means have at it, man. But for those people that don't jive with that and they think
Mhm.
that faith equals religion, it does not at all. Have faith
Yeah.
in something outside of yourself. Have faith in the work that you're doing. Have faith that, I'm going to walk my dog today and it's going to be a great day and it's going to make me feel good. Sometimes you just got to make it so fucking simple.
Yeah,
So
we
simple.
make it so complex.
We do.
Yes,
We do.
exactly. And it's so funny. So like I have a brother who is literally, I mean, and bless his heart, like he's been through he's a military veteran, so he's been through it. And so we'll talk and he's like, "No, I don't want to discuss faith and I don't want to discuss sobriety." And it's like, and I hear you, right? But just know, like, I'm here. And so he's gotten to watch over the past like 6.5 years, and we're very competitive, right? And so it's like he sees my triathlons and he's like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing now. Literally says that in a text message that he's like just signed up for my first 50K, and it was like, oh,
You guys are insane.
I know,
He's
but
insane.
yeah,
50K. Come on, man.
dude, I know. Through the desert, no
Of
less. Through
course.
the desert, I
Of
was
course.
like,
I
you're
know a
great.
friend of mine recently did a 50-mile run, and I'm like, dude, you're
I know.
okay. I don't know what you're made of, but three
It's
marathons is enough for me.
yeah. I mean, and it's awesome when it's something that see, and that's another thing too, is that it's like the faith, the food, the fitness. Like I felt like everything fit into this book, and it was a 6 year process of making it like quote unquote just right. But the main crux of it is that it's like if you can have a good relationship in these 6 areas with these 6 things, like you're set up for success. Like, you can find peace in
Absolutely.
who you're at, who you
Hmm.
are, in peace in where you're at. It helps you find your identity. Like those fellowship, like, and it doesn't even need to be like in church. Like I had one client love that part because she was like, I started an adult ballet class, right? And I had told her like, let's find a form of fitness that you love. And she was like, I like ballet. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do
Let's
that,
do it. Yeah.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah. Why
she was
not?
like, yeah. And I found this like glow stick yoga. I'm like, awesome, do it. You know what I mean? Like she loves these random things. And I was like, you don't need to do, you don't need to fit in this box. Like
No.
do what you love, And
Yep.
so, and it's so funny because in the fellowship part, she was like, I always thought like I had to, fellowship like in prayer, in silent prayer, like with monks. Like that's what she thought of. And I'm like,
Hmm.
join a knitting class. Like, I don't care where you find your people. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, I have
Right.
another client. She runs with this crazy group at 4 a.m. every morning. And I'm like, hey, man, if that's your tribe, freaking, that's awesome.
You're all insane. That's why you need each other.
Right? One of you guys cracks, you're going to be there to scoop them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. It's
Yeah. But it's
it's
like,
so true.
beautiful when you find your people that you can talk to and that like get you, like my dad has this awesome saying, everybody's crazy, you just got to find somebody who jives with your crazy, and it's like it's so true. And
So
that's
true.
why instead of trying to be this person, my anxiety completely went away when I stopped trying to be somebody I wasn't. And before, I wasn't trying, I just didn't know who I was. So
Yeah.
it was like I could feel myself around my kids, but you opened that front door and I left my house and it was like I didn't know who I was or what I liked or enjoyed doing. And then it's like you give yourself grace while you're learning, because we're all flawed and messing up constantly. You just put one foot in front of the other and figure it out. And it's beautiful. It's freaking beautiful.
It is, man. And you do you. People talk about that all the time. Like you do you. But what that means is that it's okay to not listen to what society tells you should and shouldn't be, you know? And there is so much of that right now, I feel, that it's really hard for people to recognize who they are because you're going to change. And just because who you are at this moment in time doesn't mean you're going to be that same person tomorrow because you're not. And because we see everything and that's put out there, a lot of it helps people and it does. And I can't knock it for that because if it's helping people, then by all means. But don't hang your hat on just that one thing, okay? Because it's more. It's more. And you're gonna have to just kind of keep seeking it out. And that's where the fun is seeking these things out and learning these things and talking to people. And there was a friend of mine that made a post on LinkedIn about, we need to be better about like smiling at each other and talking to each other. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Like when I'm out walking my dog, which she requires like 4 miles of walking a day, that I do my best to remember to smile at people when I walk past them. But one thing that I do like to do is, you know, like if you see somebody wearing shoes that you like, let them know. And it's just a simple thing like, oh, hey man, I really like your shoes. You have no idea how powerful that is for somebody. And that it makes them feel good. It makes them feel really, really good about themselves and who they are at that moment. And you'd be surprised what you might learn from them at that moment. They might say something back to you. They're like, fuck, whoa, okay, check it out. Powerful shoes. But it's really, really true. And it's those small things that seem to get lost in all the noise, right? We have to, you dress and talk a certain way. Yeah, I get it. I get it. You can't, whatever. It's the culture. You got to find a way
You
to
don't
like
want people to
navigate
think
it.
you're weird. Like you don't want to say something
Yeah,
about their shoes because you're like afraid that they're gonna. My kids say that all the time. Like, why are you talking to this person that you don't know? And it's like, and it's like that's you
that's what I
live.
do.
Yeah, that's me. Like, and it's so funny that you say that about those shoes because I was pushing my kids in a jogging stroller. This is years and years ago, and this girl's coming towards me. She had the coolest socks on, and as she was going by me, I was like, "I love your socks," and she was like, "What?" And I totally thought she thought I was a weirdo, but I didn't care. I'm not even joking. Later on that night, I'm out to dinner. One of our friends comes to like say hi, and he's dating this new girl. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're the one who said that you love my socks today." And it was so cool because it was like, and she just goes on and on about how like here's this girl coming towards her that she thinks is like this like holy cow,
Right.
she's running with like two girls in a
Yeah.
jogging stroller like
Yeah.
crushing it and like
Yeah.
above like putting me on a pedestal in like 30 seconds. And then I run by and I'm like, "I love your socks." And it was like, like we're just people, man.
That's right.
We're all just trying to do this crazy thing in life. And it's like that whole thing. And it's so funny that you even say that about like smiling because I put that in my book. Like if you can just have somebody feel seen, and that's what that smiling is. You
Hmm.
smile at somebody, you're acknowledging that their presence is pleasing to you. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like
Absolutely.
that releases endorphins and all kinds of dopamine in our brain. And it's like, come on,
And
people.
it's good for you too, whether they acknowledge it or not, right? Like, I don't know. It's just a nice way to go about the day. And I will, please, those listening, like, honestly, try the shoe trick or the sock trick. Okay. It's not a trick. Just do it. I can't, my kids are in a lot of sports and I've seen a lot of dads and a lot of moms rocking some sweet Jordans around here. And, here I am like, about as white bread as you can get, right? I mean, I'm like, yeah, boy, that's a white straight dad if I've ever seen one. And I'll just say, God, man, like I love your Jordans. And they'll look at me like, really? I'm like, yeah. And then before you know it, we're just chatting it away, and they'd be like, I never thought I'd ever talk to you, man. And it's like, I know, but you got sweet shoes and I'm gonna tell you. So just
I
try
know.
it sometime and
Yeah.
you'll be surprised.
Yeah. It's true.
Well, Britt, this has been amazing, man. Before we depart, you were to tell us all of your credentials. So let's start with credentials, where we can find your books and your upcoming book and any other things that you would like to plug about yourself.
Okay. All right. So let's see. We started out as a personal trainer. That was 18. Okay. So we went personal trainer, fitness nutrition specialist, group fitness trainer, DNA specialist, DNA based trainer, um, yoga one, Pilates, health coach, and then pursuing sleep coach. Oh, and life coach. And then I did take a Reiki master class,
Of
but
course
I'm
you
yet to
did.
finish it.
Wow.
But I
And
love it. I love this stuff. It's
I
so
mean, it's awesome. You need to like just tattoo that on your arm, right? So you can be like, oh, okay, right, here it is. All right, where can we find your books?
it's a super simple website. It's just sherisesandthrives.com.
SheRisesandThrives.com. I will have it in the show notes. I'll have a link there. It's
Yay, thank
awesome. And please remind us the name of your upcoming book.
She rises and thrives, loving life in recovery.
Boom. Britt, this has
Boom.
been
Oh, mic drop.
awesome. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. You're doing the good work. Keep it up.
And that was me with the awesome Britt Brandon. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you could sense and feel the connection and the excitement and emotion that was coming through the conversation that we were having. It's really wonderful when you, in any capacity, actually, it doesn't have to be through, recovery or sobriety. It could be any connection that you have with somebody, and you instantly feel it. And we both did with that, and a lot of our experiences and feelings and emotions around our lived experiences were very relatable to one another, and it was a really really wonderful conversation. And I look forward to whatever it might be moving forward in any kind of collaboration with Britt. Just putting it out there in the universe for all of you to hear. She will be here in Chicago. Gosh, I think she's coming in just a couple of days, but for Friday, May 2nd, for the soiree. Again, notaltherepod.com for the live stream. You can check in at the website for updates. And soon we will have not only Friday night's Ravenswood event edited and online, we will have the first event from Evanston online as well. You know what? You got to be kind and loving out there today, people. Okay? We got to be nice to each other. It is what it is right now. People are feeling how they're feeling, and we gotta look, take those feelings, man, and create some art with it. Do something positive with it. Let's not take it out on one another or other people. That is just not going to get anything productive done. It isn't. And we all are feeling vulnerable and confused and not knowing exactly how to process emotions. And because it's, I think for a lot, there's things happening that maybe are, it's a new experience for a lot of people. And when you experience something new for the first time, you might be a little anxious or excited about it, or we instantly go to fear and anger, and we can't live our days like that. We can't. All right, be aware. Some news that I'm reading is upsetting to me because of how it affects the work that I'm doing and how it may affect people that are seeking mental health and recovery and addiction counseling and treatment. A lot of resources appear to be going away, and that's going to have an effect on far too many people, not only individuals, but organizations that are there and available to help people, but also do rely on funding that appears to be going away. So, with that in mind, be kind of loving to yourself, be kind and loving to each other. All right. And, it's okay to just listen. It's really hard sometimes, I know. I have a hard time doing that because I would like to tell you how fucking wrong you are and how amazingly right I am. But sometimes we just need to listen. There might be something in there that you find useful, or maybe will help you understand a point of view that you didn't think you shared with somebody. But we have to be better about that. I need to be better about that. We all do. All right. You take care of yourselves. Give yourself that big hug because you deserve it. And I will be back with the next episode, which we are going across the pond. Back to England. Stay tuned for that one. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.